Well, even though the United States will not be sending people to the moon in 2024, it looks like the now approved SPOT Bitcoin ETFs will be sending Bitcoin and with it crypto to the moon instead. The question is there still time to jump on the rocket? Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Steve and I'm into crypto. You're here because you're into crypto too, or you're at least thinking about getting into crypto. And well, let's face it, after today's news, if you're not into crypto,
you'll miss the party.
It was exactly 15 years ago today when the first tweet about Bitcoin occurred. The tweet was made by Hal Finney, the person many people think was Satoshi Nakamoto, or a member of the Satoshi group, but let's not get into that today. Today, there's no longer Twitter, it's X, and today a Bitcoin has officially matured. It's all grown up.
I'm very proud of what he grew up to be.
So what's next for the big boy?
That's what I want to know!
The SEC just approved 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs. For real. Not like the fake announcements yesterday. You know, you only see this type of stuff in crypto. You can't make this up. It's wild.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
The ETFs that were just approved are ARK 21 shares, Wisdom Tree, Invesco Galaxy, Bitwise, VanEck, Franklin, Fidelity Wise, Valkyrie, Grayscale, Hashed, and BlackRock. My guess is that in the next few hours, the price will likely bounce around as various traders exit and enter short-term positions or close out positions placed for betting on the approvals. Now, some positions will likely sell out and pivot to ETH for a play on the upcoming ETH ETFs, and I think this is what we're starting to see in the price of ETH as it's also risen nicely. Now I'm going to cover this in an upcoming video in depth, so stay tuned for that. The question today is, what will happen to Bitcoin now and going forward since it has the approvals for the ETF?
Okay, so impact on price. For those who've been speculating the past month or two or three now that this day is going to come, has it moved as much as it's going to move? Is this the day it gets announced, it moves another 20, 30, 40? I mean, what are we talking about here?
It's hard to expect because we have to really see how the capital flows into the ETF. I think obviously an approval is bullish, but we've seen a big move recently. So the best part here is that there's going to be additional investors that get access to Bitcoin that maybe don't really want to natively hold it themselves.
Well, it all depends on how much capital flows into Bitcoin and how quickly this occurs.
Capital is moving, and it's going to move very rapidly.
It could be crazy, as there may be a mad rush to acquire the asset. And given Bitcoin's scarcity, it could be a rush like we've never seen before.
I remember we've had people on this broadcast that come on. Kathy Wood says it goes to $500,000 a Bitcoin. We had people years ago come on and say it'd be $1 million a Bitcoin. Do you think that's directionally where this all goes? Do you think that there's sort of a cap on what it is? Do you think every investor in the world decides that they need to have some portion of their assets in Bitcoin?
I think it depends, again, on how much we see flow in, right? Bitcoin right now, market cap is just over 915 billion, right? So even a successful ETF launch in 1 year could be 10 or $15 billion in AUM. That would be quite successful compared to some of, even some of the most successful ETF launches. So even that is, we're only talking 1 or 2% of the current market cap of Bitcoin. So how much is that really going to inflate the price, to the levels you mentioned, 500,000 or a million? Time will tell. But again, we also know there's a fixed supply of Bitcoin. So how that impacts the supply and demand dynamics of the market and how much capital is actually flowing into the ETFs, I think will be very focused.
So the big question is, what will the inflows look like? Now, we don't know. But some numbers that were floating around earlier in the week were that Bitwise had 200 million ready, VanEck had 72.5 million ready, Fidelity had about 20 million, Invesco Galaxy a little over 5, Hashed a little over 2, Wisdom Tree about 2.5, and BlackRock 10 million ready. Now, if true, this is a total of approximately 300 million that's set to flow in. However, some much bigger numbers emerged a few days ago.
And then there's this rumor that BlackRock has $2 billion lined up to put into its ETF right away. How likely do you think it is that that's true?
Okay, so I was able to corroborate that piece of information. First of all, it came from VanEck. That guy's very reputable. I know, but he doesn't want to say that. So the fact that he would volunteer that tells me it's probably true, because he would rather not that be true, right? So it's not like he has anything to gain from that. And then I corroborate it with somebody who's very inside this industry. So I've got two people saying that it's true. Now, BlackRock also has a history of doing this. When they launched some of their ESG ETFs, they lined up some institutional investors. So when it launched, they didn't put it in a seed. They actually had to come in the first day as if it were a big flow. So when you look at the top successful day one and week one ETFs ever, I think BlackRock's 6 or 7 out of the top 10, simply because of this lining up of money thing. It's a way to sort of game the system in a way. Well, it's totally fine. I mean, honestly, if you're going to put $2 billion in, you'd rather put it in on day one so it shows up as flow and volume versus before. It's smart PR, because when you have $2 billion in a fund and the volume's big and the flows look good, also looks like there's a party going on. It's like, oh, I want to be part of that party. So volume and assets are the strongest marketing out there. And so it makes total sense for them to do this. They are very shrewd and they've done it before. So it lines up with their history. And I've got 2 sources. So I also know of a couple issuers who are planning something similar, although I don't think the funds are nearly that big. But if we have BlackRock at 2 and we have, let's say, 2 other issuers at like 300 million, something like that, you're already looking right there at a record day one or week one of all time.
Now, it's anyone's guess as to what will happen to the price of Bitcoin in the next week, month, or year. Personally, I expect the price to top 100K before the end of the year, but it could go much higher. Now, note that the price will be volatile, but we know this. It's crypto after all. The main thing is that the real game changer is the change in the mainstream sentiment. Now, I imagine it will be hard for anyone in the mainstream media to come out and speak negatively about Bitcoin. Aside from Jamie Dimon, that is.
There's also new regulation coming on Bitcoin, and you famously said recently that you would shut it down if you were in government. Can you give us more clarity on that?
Yeah, what I was also pointing out is that the actual use cases are sex trafficking, tax avoidance, anti-money laundering, terrorism financing. It's not people just buying and selling Bitcoin. There's no value to if you're buying and selling Bitcoin.
To me, this is just noise. It's noise that hides the message. And the message is that crypto is solidifying as a mainstream asset class. It's moving along its natural adoption curve. And with today's approvals, we're likely to see more crypto ETFs being submitted and possibly approved in 2024.
You can start trading on Thursday. How soon before you turn around and try to make other spot products for different crypto assets?
I think we're going to see a lot of filings come out for Ethereum. I even think we might see something for Ripple, given the recent progress. You notice that Grayscale just added Ripple to one of their trusts. It's publicly traded. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Ripple or Ethereum spot ETFs out there.
And we're only week 2 of 2024, and this is going to be a very exciting year and a half. So stick around. Everyone will soon be into crypto. We're in the crypto, and there's others coming. Hit the subscribe button to join the journey. It will be epic. As always, stay safe. Thanks for watching, and keep learning how to live in crypto. Now, Friday, do you want to go for a walk? Friday, what do you think the price of Bitcoin will be tomorrow?